Hello and welcome to another episode of Ball Around the Head. Game 3 edition. I'm here with some very happy Laker fans and a very sad non-Laker fan right here. And wow, all I gotta say is wow. I didn't watch most of the game. I'm man enough to admit it. I watched the fourth quarter and some of the third quarter, but not a lot. And I didn't like what I saw from the Lakers. It wasn't a pretty effort. So we're going to dig right into it, actually. And I'm going to ask Ben. Ben, why were the Heat in control for most of this game?
Jimmy Buckets, it was unbelievable this game. You know, that's what I've been saying is that he needs to be the best player on that team if they have any chance. And, man, he did that and then some today. But on the Lakers side, oh, my God, the turnovers were just horrible, especially in the first half. They looked so out of sync. And then AD was so tentative. He was a minus 26, I believe, which is just terrible for someone who I thought was going to win Finals MVP.
Me too.
And so it just, I don't know what to say. That they look terrible. The Lakers look terrible today.
Andrew?
What was the question? It's like the Heat, first off, the refs are just really bad, even though the Lakers got more calls. Half the Lakers fouls were not fouls. It was either literally in the third quarter especially, it was either the Heat would drive to the basket and get fouled somehow, or the Heat would make it, and then LeBron and Anthony Davis would sit there looking at each other. Anthony Davis didn't even play that much of the game because he was in foul trouble early. So I'm going to say that's definitely part of the reason why the Heat were in control, because there's no defensive presence in the paint at all. Because not only Dwight Howard didn't want to play today, I guess, JaVale McGee just hasn't even played at all in the finals. Anthony Davis was in foul trouble. So, yeah, the Heat were in control of the game because they just knew to drive to the basket because they were either going to get fouled or have an open look on the shot. And then none of the Lakers wanted to play defense today. I'm done.
Okay. So I think me and Ben touched on this last stream, and we talked about why the Lakers, at that time, took their NBA Finals record for three-pointers. And they were open quite a few times, and we were just wondering maybe it's the zone. But the Lakers shot 42 threes again today and did not hit. A 33% is not horrible, but it's not good. And you just have people like Green who scores 0 points in an NBA Finals game, which for my starting shooting guard, that's not what I want. And
he didn't score 0. He had some free throws. I thought.
He scored 2, I think.
He scored 2. He scored 0 field goals. My apologies. My bad. And like you said, Andrew, I really don't know about the refs. The refs are never good. They never get the right calls all the time. But
you're just a Celtics fan, so it's different.
Jimmy Butler shot 14 free throws, and the Lakers shot 29 as a team, I believe. That was the number. Hero and Robinson weren't really good. So this is a horrible loss for the Lakers. This is horrible. And I get they're still in cruise control. They still have a lot of the series left, and it's just one game. They lost game 3 to Nuggets, and they won the next 2. But this is a horrible loss without Nuggets' 2 of the top 3 players.
The Heat.
Heat's not playing. Yeah, the Heat's top 3 players. The Heat, the big guys, the three-point shooters weren't really hitting threes very well. Hero shot, oh gosh, let me get this one right, 5 of 18 from the field, although he did hit a couple big shots down the stretch. The Heat just had that game plan, and they stuck to it. They switched Pope onto Butler, and Butler abused that matchup every single time. And I was a little shocked LeBron, kind of what Butler did on the other one with LeBron. They tried to switch, but Butler stayed on LeBron. LeBron just let Morris and Pope and all of them switch, and Butler made them pay every single time. So that was interesting for me to see. And, next game, LeBron's going to come out and want to guard Jimmy Butler, kind of like he did with Murray in game 5 or game 4. It was game 4? Yeah, it was game 4.
Game
whatever.
4.
Yeah.
Because they won, and then they were like, all right, no more.
So, yeah, I think the Heat just had a good game plan, and Eric Spoelstra is one of the most underrated coaches in the league. Maybe he's starting to get normally rated because everyone says he's underrated. And I feel like they stick to their game plan really well, and that's why they were in control. And the Lakers just didn't play their best basketball remotely. So as we talk about the Heat sticking to a game plan, Jimmy Butler has been pretty overly confident, which is expected of a player on a team, especially a star player. He, in game 2, said they're winning the game. They didn't do that. And then they were down 0-2. The coach, Butler, all of them said, we're okay. We don't care what you guys think. We're going to win again. And Butler put up probably his best performance as a Miami Heat player. He had 40 points, 11 rebounds, and 12 assists. And he shot very efficiently from the field. It wasn't a 10 of 30 shooting. He played his best basketball of his career. So, Andrew, is this Jimmy Butler at his best?
I'm going to say yes because, like you mentioned, LeBron is definitely going to want to guard Jimmy Butler. Like, I don't know if LeBron was just social distancing from defense on Jimmy Butler, which is really respectable. Like, I guess the king is just wants to limit contact, so good for him. But all seriousness, like, I think it's not. I'm just so mad. I don't want to answer this, but Jimmy Butler probably definitely played a really great game, and I think it is his best because the Lakers are going to have to just know the game plan is around Jimmy Butler. We're going to have more effort on defense. I mean, he had a 40-point triple-double. Like, he just was everywhere. He was everywhere. I mean, driving to the basket, throwing it to open shooters, which he was actually doing last game, which didn't really end up well. This game, the Lakers just didn't want to have any effort on perimeter because they're focusing, like, but yeah, Jimmy Butler. Like, I guess good for him. I don't know.
Ben?
Yeah. You mentioned, Daniel, the free throws. Biggest difference between this Jimmy Butler and what we saw in games 1 and 2 is that you saw, I think he did it once, but he wasn't driving and he'd have a wide open layup and then he'd just kick it out to no one. He was aggressive. He, if he got a smaller guy on him, and even LeBron sometimes, he just, ISO, spread the floor, I'm going to take it and get fouled. And he did that so many times throughout this game. And that's what the Heat need to have a chance in this series. They need him to be their superstar. He shot 70%, 14 of 20 in the field, like you mentioned. So 40-point triple-double. I mean, if this isn't him at his best, then I don't know what to say.
Yeah, he did say that the Lakers were, quote, in trouble, which, okay. Really scared of Jimmy Butler. Actually, kind of am scared of Jimmy Butler. So I'm not gonna... But I forgot to mention, thanks for reminding me, Ben. Like, he just abused the matchups. Like, KCP would get switched on him. Alex Caruso got switched on him. Rondo got switched on him at the end. Morris was getting switched on him. Like, he would just go to the basket. And, of course, like I mentioned earlier, Anthony Davis wasn't really playing. So, yeah, this abusing matchups. And LeBron's a B word. We're not guarding him.
As Ben mentioned, I think this obviously is Jimmy Butler's best. A 40-point triple-double is the best for a lot of players. And throughout the first 3 rounds of this playoffs, he hasn't really been that scorer. But then again, Dragic and Adebayo were still playing, so he didn't really have to be the scorer. And now he knows that. In game 2, he had a feel out that he didn't shoot so well. And then game 3, he's like, all right, this is my game to take over. If we have any chance of winning, I got to be good. And he was just that. He helped his teammates out while also scoring very well, made his free throws when he needed to. And I feel like this was definitely Jimmy Butler at his best. And as Ben said, if there's more of this from Jimmy Butler, watch out, man. Like, this dude is on a mission right now. He loves right now that every media member said, including I think all 3 of us, that the Lakers were going to sweep them. He loves that everybody thinks the Heat are done. And that's what he's using every single game to come out there and play as hard. I guarantee you, him and Udonis Haslem are saying, all right, everyone has us losing this championship, so what do we have to lose? Go out there, play your best basketball. Udonis Haslem, shout out to him. Like, his veteran leadership, a lot of people overrate it, and it's also at the same time very underrated. Like, he doesn't play. He doesn't play. He's getting up there in age. But that locker room presence is so key, especially in the playoffs. Like, when they have a bunch of young people, Hero, Robinson, Adebayo, Nunn, all those people. So they need that veteran presence who's won championships. And they need him to be in their ears and say, all right, let's go. Like they said, he cussed him out last game. And this game, who knows what their pre-games are like with Jimmy Butler and Udonis Haslem as pre-games. Oh, man, I'd love to be in that room. We got a comment real quick. I'm going to check it out. Jimmy Butler, MVP. Oh, if the Heat win, by far he would be finals MVP. I don't think it's really that up for debate. You guys all agree on that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so far for sure.
I mean, except for the real GOAT, Kelly Olynyk. He might have a –
He did hit. I was actually like, he made a couple shots and I just stabbed in the heart.
So
Heart stabber.
I'm going to take this question, actually. So LeBron and AD combined for 25 shots. And I want to say that I saw AD was in foul trouble. I get it. But when you're coming off a 32-point game and you've dominated this entire series, there should be no way you shoot 9 shots in an NBA Finals game. Like, that is unacceptable. And you have people like Kuzma and Markieff Morris shooting way more shots, or 4 more shots than Anthony Davis, and Rondo 1 less shot than Anthony Davis. That's not what your star needs to shoot the ball. Like Butler, I said in game 2, shot horribly, but he shot the ball because he's a star and he needs to shoot. Hero, not really a star yet. He's going up there. But he shot the ball because they need him to score. They need AD to score, and he didn't deliver. He had 15 points, which isn't horrible, but considering how much he's dominated the Crowders, the Olynyks, the Iguodalas, Butlers, there's no way he should take 9 shots. He can easily get whatever shot he wants. I saw him hit a couple easy fadeaways earlier, like late in the game, and there was no contest. Myers Leonard, Kelly Olynyk have no chance against him. So I think the reason why, I don't quite know. LeBron kind of did LeBron shots. I don't think LeBron did anything like out of the ordinary. He doesn't really shoot 30 shots a game. That's not really who he ever has been. But AD, he's got to shoot way more game. I would not be surprised if he shoots maybe 25 to 30 shots in game 4. You heard it here on Ball Around the Head first. I wouldn't be surprised if that many shots. All right, Ben, what do you got?
Yeah, you said it. I mean, this definitely falls on AD's shoulders more so. The reason I'd say, you might think LeBron should have shot more is if he is taking over a game, then AD might not get as many shots, but that wasn't the case either. Neither of them shot. I mean, they combined for 25 shots in an NBA Finals game when they're the 2 reasons they're here in the first place. I mean, this is not a balanced offensive team like the Heat or the Celtics. This is LeBron and AD, and then everybody else is under like 12 points per game. It's just unacceptable. And it's not like they just had bad shooting nights. They just didn't shoot a lot. They were both efficient. 56% from LeBron and 67% from Davis. I know he was in foul trouble, but he still got 32 minutes in.
Yeah.
Got to get more than 9 shots up. You can't really you can give credit to the Heat defense all you want, but it just makes me mad to see that you're not showing up in a finals game, especially Anthony Davis. Like, you can't pin the blame on the Heat defense for that.
And to that point, and I mean, there's Laker fans everywhere, and every NBA fan has different excuses for every game. And if Laker fans out there saying, it's just one game can lead to another game, and you lose the finals. And you can't just say Anthony Davis just shot 9 shots because, I mean, he was having an off night. He didn't really want to shoot the ball so much. He'll get him next game. Because if he does the same thing next game, then it's a tight series, and it's a best of 3. And that gives Dragic and Adebayo, because I think it's a 3-game rest from game 4 to game 5. I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
2, one of those. So that gives them more rest, and odds are at least Adebayo would come back maybe next game, or if not, game 5, definitely. I'm sorry if I interrupt you, Andrew. Andrew, go ahead.
No, it's fine. I mean, like, LeBron, he took some horrible shots, especially in like the 4th quarter when they were only down 5 at one point. And I thought, the Lakers can easily get this game to overtime and probably win. But then they were just chucking up threes, like the world's most horrible 3-point shots in the world. I don't know what to say. And then obviously Anthony Davis, we mentioned already, he's in foul trouble, so he wasn't going to be getting a lot of shots throughout the game. And it's pretty unfortunate that he was limited. I mean, Frank Vogel did keep him in though, with 4 fouls to get rhythm, and he still couldn't even find a rhythm. So it's just unfortunate. So yeah.
So, I mean, if I was a gambling man, I would say AD comes out very aggressive next game. I don't think he's gonna shoot 9 shots. Like I said, I think he's gonna shoot quite a few shots. But as you guys have both mentioned, and I've mentioned, this is unacceptable for an NBA Finals. A star cannot do this. And like we said, nobody's locking down Anthony Davis. So it's not like he has no good looks. He has good looks. He's just not shooting it, which is just not acceptable for an NBA Finals. So all in all, I guess the real question I'm going to ask, I'm going to go straight to it, is to Andrew. Should this game concern Laker fans?
No, not at all, because I think that next game the Lakers will just learn the mistakes from this game and then just do better next game, I guess. I think that as far as like defensive wise, they're definitely going to watch film and they're going to be like, okay, well, when Jimmy Butler goes in, the perimeters need to slide out and you need to limit where he can go, because you can't do an entire 180 in the middle of the air to pass. So you can see who he can pass to and not. And I think the Lakers have been winning in 5. Like, that's what's most disappointing about this game. Like, I was so excited. Like, I was just ready to be like, Lakers in 4, Lakers, I knew it. I was going to pop some champagne. I was going to have like an entire thing. I had an entire thing planned, but whatever. I guess it's fine. The Lakers will still win the championship, so I'm not going to cry about it, but I would have loved to see them win in 4. But as far as next game, I don't think it's anything to worry about. I will worry about, though, if Bam Adebayo or Goran Dragic will come back. Like, I don't know what their timeline is, and I guess realistically, as a Lakers fan, I don't really want them to come back. But as a competitors, it's you obviously want to go against the team you're playing against at full strength.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's concerning.
Ben?
Yeah, I'm mildly concerned just because of how bad they looked. But overall, I'm still pretty confident. If you're a Lakers fan, they're still up 2-1. I think they just lose a game every series just to prove Andrew wrong.
That's what they do it for.
You saw at the end of that game, LeBron and others, I think including AD, walked off the floor into the locker room before time expired. They had to bring the bench out.
Whoa.
That's not a good look. I'll admit, that's not a good sportsmanship right there. But one thing I will say about that is that means they're mad, and they're going to come out next game. Like you said, AD is going to get a ton of shots up, and LeBron is not going to let Jimmy Butler do what he has to do for the Heat to win. So that's why I'm feeling pretty good going into next game. If they lose next game, I'm pretty worried. But we'll wait and see.
Yeah, to that point, when they walked off the court, that wasn't cool. That wasn't good basketball. And I get like you're mad, but come on, you got to play show a little respect to the game. Come on. But anyways, I'm kind of on the same board, kind of not. I feel like this game should a little bit worry Heat. I mean, Laker fans. But then again, last series they did kind of put up a dud against the Nuggets in Game 3 and ended up winning. But like Ben said, they played horrible tonight, and odds are AD and LeBron are not going to ever do it again because, I mean, they're AD and LeBron. They're arguably two of the top 5 players in the NBA. But I'd be a little worried with Green and Pope. They're starting guards because the last 2 games, they have not shot the ball well at all. And if Markieff Morris is tied for your 3rd most field goal attempts on your team, that's a little worrisome. And in the fourth quarter, when you have Markieff Morris taking threes, when you have AD and LeBron on your team, and to Andrew's point, I think not this topic, but another topic, they were chucking up threes. And that reminded me of my Celtics when they just chucked up threes to get back in the game, which kind of what the game has evolved to is 3-point shooting. But I'd be a little worried. I still very well think that they're going to win this series. I'm not too overly concerned about this loss. I'm going to bring up a comment by Anthony. He said, with the Heat momentum right now, what do you think will happen when Bam comes back and brings them that spark that they need? I'm going to answer that since I was on a little roll. I don't know. I'm always torn between – I never liked the argument of, oh, well, this team could have done good because this was injured and they're doing good without him. Because when someone is out of the lineup, they adjust the whole game plan. And then when they get put back in the lineup, they adjust the whole game plan. So when a player's injured, you can't just say, oh, without Adebayo, like with Adebayo, this would have been a blowout because the Heat would have played a completely different game. They probably wouldn't have gone to zone as much. They would have gone man to man, and who knows? But Bam Adebayo is a huge get if they get him back. That's a huge get. On the defensive end, offensively, he could hit those mid ranges, which they gave him a lot in game 1 before he went out, and he missed a bunch of them. That's a very dangerous weapon as well. So, Ben, what do you have on this?
I mean, yeah, I don't have much to say on this. They're definitely better off with Bam than without him. But I mean, it's not like AD is really testing the Heat bigs right now. So
yeah,
the defensive presence, I mean, it comes down to the Lakers have to be more aggressive for that to even make a difference on the defensive end, if that makes any sense. So, I mean, Jimmy Butler's the key to the series in my mind, and it's going to come down to what he can do. But it for sure it will be great for the Heat when they get Bam back, and I hope it's a matter of when and not if, as a competitor.
Andrew?
Yeah. So as far as introducing a new piece to a team that's on momentum, like that could you don't know if that's going to be good or bad. Obviously, Bam Adebayo is such a talented player, so you would think that it would be good no matter what if he gets back. But he could be he could just not be the same player. I mean, I don't know if it was pretty sure all he did was injure his hand or his wrist or something. But yeah, I don't really know if adding a new piece is going to help or kind of slow down the momentum the Miami Heat just got from today's game. But I think Bam Adebayo is a good player, so I think his I'm not going to say leadership because he is a third kind of year player, but he's an all-star on that team. So I think his just presence on the floor is going to be good for that Miami Heat squad, especially in the finals as underdogs. So I think they might win a game with him. Now that the Lakers aren't winning in foe, I don't even care how many games I win in. But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens.
I appreciate that question. So we're to go again out of the NBA Finals real quick on the topic. And this time we don't have a coaching discussion. We actually have a drama discussion. So the other day on Katie's podcast, Kyrie said something that had a lot of people thinking it was a very low-key shot at LeBron. And in a quote, he said, "One thing I've always been comfortable with is I felt like I was the best option on every team I played for down the stretch. This is my first time in my career where I can look down and be like, that dude can make that shot too." Andrew, do you think that this was a shot at LeBron or no? Because I think yesterday or 2 days ago, he came out and said that the media twisted it. He doesn't have any ill will towards anybody. So what do you think?
Yeah, this is obviously a shot at LeBron James because, who else would you be talking about? What other team has Kyrie Irving been on with someone that would take the last shot, other than the final stage? So, yeah, I think this is definitely directed at LeBron James. I think it's because LeBron is just in the finals and Kyrie Irving needs attention because he's just not in the playoffs and I don't know. So I think this is definitely directed at LeBron James, no question about it.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. It's clearly a shot at LeBron because just look at the timing. I mean, LeBron's in the finals about to win, presumably about to win a championship in his 17th year after he left Kyrie in Cleveland. And that would be his first championship since he left the Cavaliers for the Lakers. So yeah, I think it's clearly a shot. I mean, it's pretty much just LeBron and KD in terms of great teammates that Kyrie has had. And I definitely don't disagree that KD is that guy, but LeBron's definitely that guy too. He was definitely the first option in that team over Kyrie. So yeah, clearly a shot.
All I want to say is I am so happy we don't have to deal with this, as in Celtics fans anymore. Because it was said the other day, and again, it was taken back, that back 2 years ago when they were at the All-Star break and Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving were talking and they said 2 max slots and people were like, oh, they're talking about leaving together for free agency. Kyrie came out and said, no, the media portrayed it wrong again, blah, blah, blah. And then a couple weeks ago, it comes out and says that they were talking about 2 max free agent slots and signing together in free agency. So Kyrie lied straight to the media. This one's obviously by far a shot at LeBron. It's not really a debate. He wasn't talking to Tatum. He was talking to Gordon Hayward. He wasn't talking to Kevin Love. Like Kevin Durant's good. Don't get me wrong, but LeBron has 3 championships. He's been in 9. Well, this is his 10th. I really disagree with his comments strongly. I don't think it's any bit true whatsoever. This dude, he just said, and the thing with him is he said that, and then he comes out and says, oh, the media portrayed it wrong, when he said word for word what my quote was. And I mean, how else is the media going to portray it? Like, what? So I'm just super glad we don't have to ever deal with that Kyrie media nonsense anymore, because it's a lot. And I mean, Kyrie does some good things for the community. I'm not going to say Kyrie's a horrible human being. I'm not attacking people's personal lives, but with his media relationship with the NBA media, it's just horrible. And I'm so glad we don't have to deal with it anymore.
And real quick, his response was horrible. Like he did like a video and it just was so ingenuine, and obviously it was just it was kind of like I don't know what to say, just a like childish response. It was kind of funny though, but at the same time, like, I don't know, he just doesn't know how to own up to anything he says.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, so that's going to end our discussion for NBA topics, but for the 3rd straight stream, we're going to bring in a special guest. Please welcome Roger. Roger, how's it going?
Great, Daniel. How you doing? Hi, everybody. Hi, Laker fans all over the world.
Hi.
It's great to be with you. Thank you for having me on.
Andrew will ask you a couple questions.
Okay, I hope they're not hard ones.
Yeah, so first off, great to see you, Roger. I know you're just across the house, but I like the merchandise you're wearing. I'm not wearing my matching one, but it's fine. To keep it different. All right, so the first question. So Roger, as an experienced like basketball watcher, and if you guys don't know, I guess Roger has been watching basketball for a while. You witnessed the first kind of Lakers, not the first Lakers dynasty, but you witnessed one of the Lakers dynasties in the early 2000s with Kobe and Shaq, the 1999 to 2000 season to the 2002 to 2001 to 2002 season. Those 3 kind of years of straight championships. So how would you compare Anthony Davis and LeBron James to Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant kind of as players?
It's just a really interesting thing, because Kobe and Shaq had this really tumultuous relationship. I mean, they were teammates and they worked hard at being teammates, but they didn't necessarily like each other, and they were very competitive against each other. And I think that wore on both of them, and it wore on their teammates as well. But of course, they got over that because Shaq was so big and Kobe was so good, and so they were able to be successful. But there was always that tension, that sort of thing that was always in the background. And they won, so that was what was really important. What I really see with Anthony Davis and LeBron is they're true friends. They are really very close. If you notice after the game, when one goes off on an interview, the other one waits for him, and they come back and they, pump hands or whatever and walk off together into the locker room. So they are very, very close. And I think that is really a neat kind of a combination. Now it can be a problem too, because other teammates need to feel the love as well. But I really like the chemistry that's on this team now. It may have a lot to do with the bubble. The bubble may bring people closer together. But Shaq and Kobe were not close. You would never see them, together off the court. When Paul Cassell got there later on, they had a much better relationship. I think actually Kobe, I think, could speak some Italian, or no, Spanish, Portuguese or whatever Paul was. And so they really had a much closer relationship, and they had a lot of magic together too. They were really very fun to watch. And that team with Derek, well, all those years with Derek Fisher and those guys, they were a fun team to watch. And no matter what the background story was, they were winners, and they played together as a team, and they did really well. So it was fun watching them then. It was extremely exciting. It's been fun watching this season too, but it's a lot different because of the bubble.
That's cool. Wait, so you mentioned Pau Gasol, and when I kind of earlier kind of today, and I walked outside the room and I told you I mentioned Shaq and Kobe, and then I said Pau Gasol, and I was walking out and I heard you mutter Pau Gasol was a better player than Shaquille O'Neal. So that is like a huge hot take. And so what do you think? So do you want to expand on that idea?
Well, yeah, because Shaq was really big, and he just plugged up the middle. I mean, other than that, he didn't have much talent. He didn't shoot free throws, well at all. If he got into the basket, he could shoot some. But his basic thing was just to kind of plug up the middle because he's so huge. Pau Gasol has a lot of talent. He could do a lot of different things on defense and offense, and he's just a really good all-around player. I would probably rather have Pau Gasol on my team than Shaq, even though I think Shaq's one heck of a character. I mean, he truly is. He's funny as anything. But Pau Gasol was a much better all-around player.
Wow, right. So kind of moving on from Lakers' past to LeBron's past, as I don't know if a lot of you know, but Roger had some experience in the Akron area. Wait, Roger, just real quick, what was your Akron experience?
Well, I went to the University of Akron 20-some years before Shaq or before LeBron was ever around, but that was my alma mater. And when I was there in my senior year, we actually went to the NCAA finals in Evanston, Indiana. And I went there. And
you hit the game winner, right?
No, we lost. But anyhow, that was the last time I think Akron was in the playoffs. But Shaq, I keep saying Shaq, I'm sorry, but LeBron came along much later in Akron. He was a sensational player from junior high school on, and particularly in high school. So in high school, he was good enough. He could go on into the NBA. His teammates, all the good ones, went to the University of Akron and played in the University of Akron. But Shaq went on to the NBA. LeBron, yeah.
Wait, so
Shaq stuck in my mind.
Speaking of LeBron, so you kind of have watched LeBron play in the NBA, and obviously as an Akron kind of resident for a while, you're probably a fan of the Cleveland Cavaliers. So how would you compare this kind of Lakers LeBron to the LeBron we saw in early 2000s in Cleveland? Also, maybe not the early 2000s, but in the 2000s with Cleveland, and then kind of Miami and also Cleveland again. So what do you think?
Well, LeBron was fabulous. And, my family is all back in Ohio and in the Cleveland area, always Cavalier fans. And so we were always excited when he was there. He was a really great player, but he was very much younger. He was just a kid. I mean, he was 18, 19 years old. And he was sensational, but just not to the level that he is now. So over the years, he's really, really matured. He came back to Cleveland, of course. Everybody in Cleveland and the whole northern Ohio area was going to kill him when he took his talents to Miami. And he proved himself in Miami pretty doggone well. Came back to Cleveland and kept on going. But today, I just think he's matured. He's an incredible individual. He's given the University of Akron millions of dollars for scholarships. And he's just a great guy. He's off the court, he's a great guy. On the court, he's just really one of the most sensational basketball players of all time. I just always admire him. And the fact that he gets triple doubles, particularly with the assist. I mean, he shares the ball. And here lately with Anthony Davis, Anthony outscores him, and it doesn't matter to him. He's very happy to win the game.
Nice. Yeah. So speaking of winning the game, unfortunately, you saw kind of how upset I was when the Lakers just didn't. I don't even want to talk about it. So, what do you think the Lakers will have to do in Game 4 to win the game? Or our better question is, what do you think will happen in Game 4?
Well, I was really hoping they were pretty much going to burst the bubble on Tuesday night when they finish off the fourth game. Because I really think that should be motivating them a lot. They're going to get out of that bubble that they've been in for 2 or 3 months. So I think that's a big motivation for them. But they didn't play well tonight. They just didn't. They were very lackadaisical. They were very sloppy. They didn't get the rebounds. They weren't in the right position at the right time. And I think they have to go back to their game plan. I think they have to get the offensive rebounds. They have to be in there. They have to play. They have to minimize their turnovers. They had more turnovers in the first quarter than they had all the other day when they played. So they just got to get back to their game. And, everybody has an off day, and the team can have an off day too. And they did that today. They just weren't there and weren't there to the extent that they needed to be. There were times when I thought maybe they could pull it off, but they missed shots. They didn't get the rebounds. They made turnovers. So I just really think they go back to their game. I think they're motivated to get out of the bubble, and I think they're going to win the next game. The next two games.
Roger, we have a question actually from a subscriber. Leo Milman asked you, what are the chances LeBron retires if they win this year, as it's its 10th, I believe he meant, finals?
LeBron's not going to retire. I mean, he's got many more years in him, actually. I just don't see him retiring. And if he does retire, I've often thought about this, Phil Jackson was a really good basketball player. He was a really great coach. So would LeBron end up being a really great coach too? Could well be. I don't know. But I really don't think I think we're going to see him for 2-3 years at least more.
Only 2 to 3. I think, trying to jump in on this question, I feel like LeBron James definitely is going to play with his son. That's his ultimate goal in the NBA, was to play with Bronny James. And I feel like this is kind of like random, but I've always thought for him to be considered the GOAT, he's going to have to three-peat with his Lakers team. So then he ties Jordan with 6 and then gets a three-peat. And then if he can win a championship with his son to get number 7 above Jordan and win with his son, he'd definitely be the GOAT. But the likelihood of that happening is kind of a lot, especially when LeBron's on the clock. But
yeah, but I mean, even as he gets older and he loses some edge of his skills, he's got teammates around him that can pick it up, and he's smart enough to, he's a playmaker. He can get everybody in the right position to do the right kind of thing. So I think that would really be cool. I mean, I was a World Hockey fan years ago in San Diego, and Gordie Howe was playing, and he played with 3 of his sons, which was really pretty incredible. So I think that's a big incentive, and it'll really be a fun thing for any player to be able to do that. So let's hope LeBron does that. I just think he's a fabulous player. I think he's got a lot of history left to write, and let's give him a chance to write it.
Good answer.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us, Roger. I really appreciate your insight you just offered. I want to thank the people who have asked questions tonight, who have commented. I have read all your comments. Don't worry. We will be back for Game 4 on Tuesday for about 15 minutes after the game ends. If you're not already, please subscribe. We're 15 away from our goal of 50. If you're not following our podcast, please follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or whatever you may be listening to it on. And also follow us on Instagram for some updates of when we stream. If you have an opportunity to special guests like Roger, you can always just DM us on Instagram, and we'll be more than happy to let you join. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and peace out.
Lakers in 5. Lakers in 5.
Good seeing you.